Like Peter always said, that he wants a Nigeria where the youth to drive the policy.
Welcome to this special episode on Novo TV. The country Nigeria just had 2023 presidential election, and top on the list is the fallout from the election. What has continued to marvel people has been the emergence of Labour Party and the impact of Labour Party in the just concluded election. We're going to look at just the impact of Labour Party, what Labour Party was able to achieve within the 5 months he had to prepare for this election, just opposite to all the older parties, what they achieved. With me to do justice to this is my very good friend, Dr. Chidi Peters. Dr. Chidi Peters, you're welcome.
Good morning, Novel, and of course, the Novel TV family. Welcome to this. I welcome myself to this platform.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I just talked about the impact of Labour Party in the just concluded presidential election. You know, before now, there's been this speculation that Labour Party is just a media hype, that nothing was going to come out of it. Remember one of the former governors saying it's just 4 men chatting in a room. But from the results we've seen so far, I think the result has disabused most of our mind, most of our thinking about the impact of what Labour Party achieved. In a summary, what do you think? What really is the impact of Labour Party in this concluded election?
The impact is massive. The impact is 99.99% positive. You see, what is wrong with the Nigerian politicians is one thing, is the ability to read the handwriting on the wall. And Nigerian politicians believe in propaganda and being foul-mouthed, and being abusive to the oppositions, without going down deep to dig out the foundation, the fundamentals, the political ideology, the political socialization that have to do with every political party. We believe in abusive politics, which is not how it should be played. Somebody is moving a train, and we are telling him that the train is a social media hype, that the train is structureless train, that the train is 4 men in a room. And the handwriting has been on the wall that Nigerian youth are revolting. Nigerian youth are passing message. Nigerian youth want retirement of the old politicians that have brought them no good. Nigerian youth are out to ensure that the old groom that is not competent, that cannot be trusted, that cannot be relied upon, is taken out from their premises. Nigerian youth are singing that they don't want the umbrella under which they have hidden Nigeria, under which they have hidden Nigerian billions and trillions, and the umbrella that has broken and have disintegrated Nigeria. They don't want such umbrella again, because the umbrella can no longer shelter them out of poverty, shelter them out of employment, shelter them out of the heavy rain of hunger, out of the heavy rain of uneducation, out of the heavy rain of embezzlement and theft in the politics, and yet they could read the handwriting on the wall. I'm surprised that now they are beginning to say, okay, let us see how we can bring Labour Party into our mainstream politics. The man has his own political philosophy, political ideology, mission and vision, which is very, very difficult and very, very hard for anybody to attain. That is about it. So it's unfortunate that I underestimated Labour Party as an underdog, and now the underdog have unseated the political bourgeois.
Well, I think you used the word, you talked about retiring of the old politicians. I think I was listening to Ayo Fayose. Ayo Fayose said the Labour Party has proved a lot of people wrong, and it has succeeded in retiring a lot of old politicians. Sure. You're correct. But before I go there, let me come this way. From the result released so far by INEC, Labour Party won 6 senatorial seats. This is the first time. Imagine Labour Party coming behind APC and PDP, beating parties like ABGA, SDP, NNPP, YPP. Is a major stroke. And also for the House of Rep, from the result released so far, Labour Party got 134 seats. This is the first time it's happening in Nigeria. What is your take on this?
Like I told you, the Labour Party were underestimated. P2B is a movement. P2B is a colossus. P2B is an enigma. P2B is a college that Nigerian politicians and youth have to study. For a man within the range of 5 months to tour around and stare around Nigerian political waters means that he's worthy to be studying at Nigerian University, his political philosophy and political ideology.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Now, these people that just won this seats through Labour Party, what do we expect from them? You know, the youth, like you said, voted for them because of Peter Obi, because
Sure.
of he was spearheading Labour Party.
Sure.
What do we expect from these men?
Let me also bring in, before I talk about that some of these people that were unseated were not a mere just pushovers. A lot of them have spent 12 up to 20 years in National Assembly, and the almighty APC in their years of governance will not unseat them. And yet this is a new party unseating the major political player in National Assembly and the major political player in the Senate. So it's a thing of applause. I wouldn't know how they wanted to play again. The only thing we're having now is the mandates robbed. If the mandate was stolen, we have said, okay, let us make it a minimal legal pursuit. But the mandate was robbed. And the robbery in Nigerian law contest is a heinous crime. And we must go after it. And I can tell you that Labour is going to collect it back. Then coming down to people who are elected under the platform APC, this is the time.
Labour Party.
This is the time for them to go back and study Mr. P2B very well. Study his antecedents. Study his political moves. Study his body language. Study his mission for Nigeria. Study his vision for Nigeria. And of course, as a role model, they must key into his policy. They must see him as a model in total. By learning from him, by consulting him, not as a political godfather, to ask him, what do we do for us to achieve this? They must key in. This is the time for those politicians not to disappoint Nigerian youths. This is the time for them not to disappoint Mr. P2B. This is the time for them not to disappoint the world. But I mean the entire world that have beamed their satellites onto Labour Party. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria that international media beamed their satellites on Nigerian politics, particularly on Mr. P2B, appearing in Time International magazine, appearing in the Times, appearing in the New York, Washington, D.C. A lot of media carry the electrification of P2B as far as Nigerian politics is concerned. So these politicians who are just being handpicked, many of them are just youths. Like P2B always said, that he wants a Nigeria where the youth to drive the policy. If you want from National Assembly to the senators, I don't think any of them are more than 50 years old. And which is part of what I've been preaching, that he become a president, that nobody in his cabinet is more than 50 years old. It means you want to drive a robust economy and a robust politics with the youth. He said the youth are contesting this election through him. And of course, they're proving his point by electing this youth. So this is the time for this youth to begin to work and hit the ground running as soon as they resume office. The 100 million naira that these senators and House of Assembly members collect from Ministry of Agriculture for empowerment of our youth, of women, and giving them grinders and a lot of things. This is the time when they collect that money. They should go back to the constituency and ensure that this money is used for these women. The 100 million naira they collect from Ministry of Power and Energy that they steal and keep in their houses. This is the time for them to collect this money and take them home and ensure electrification of rural areas. The 100 million naira they collect from Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to ensure that they give food, IDPs and so on and so forth, displaced persons and our children. This is the time when they collect this money, they should take them back to their constituency to ensure that it also have that impact on rural development. The money they collect from Ministry of Works to tie 1 or 2 kilometers of road that a lot of them have pocketed into their personal pocket. This is the time to use it and begin to tie road. The money they receive from housing, Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Water Development. This is the time for these Labour Party candidates, House of Assembly elect and Senate elect, for them to ensure they employ this money into development of that constituency. That will be the happiest moment that people will ever cherish.
Thank you so much. You spoke with so much passion. We heard the advice from Dr. Chidi Peters. Those of us that got our various seats under Labour Party were representation of His Excellency Governor P2B. That's what he's trying to say, that you should go there and they say to whom much is given, much is expected. The confidence reposed on you by the youths in voting you or whoever voted you in you should try and make sure you make good use of that office. That is what Dr. Chidi is saying. Dr. Chidi Peters, before we go, I was listening to Ayo Fayose, like I talked about earlier. He said whoever wins finally at the end, that the person must incorporate P2B into his government, assuming P2B did not win. That P2B is now a major force to be reckoned with in the country. Do you think he's right in his assertion?
It's not a matter of bringing P2B in. It's a matter of doing the right thing. Like my principal will say, if you want to answer His Excellency, make sure that the person that brought you in is excellent. So P2B is not a man that wants to dent his image with political scintillation and missionalization. He wants something that is straight. So if the administration are coming out with clear-cut policy that have to do with the people of Nigeria, the betterment of the people of Nigeria, in terms of agriculture, in terms of road infrastructure, in terms of electricity, in terms of education, P2B is in. But whereby it is just for gimmicks, I can tell you my principal P2B can never be part of it.
It's okay. Thank you so much. We heard that advice from friend here, and I guess Dr. Chidi Peters. Dr. Chidi Peters, one final word, like we talked about as we approach the next election, the gubernatorial election, the House of Assembly election. That's on March 11. What's your final word for Nigerians out there as we approach the election?
The youth are already in to ensure that this country is changed for the betterment, for the advantage, to ensure that we no longer have 8 months of strike, to ensure that our universities are vitalized, to ensure that our university is ranked among the best universities in Africa, to ensure that our universities are ranked among the best universities, best 100 universities in the world. We have the capacity, we have the resources, we have the money to ensure that every average youth that have graduated, that have skill, like the lady that was talking about 75 times to buy oven, and of course yesterday the man P2B was able to perform his magic, to ensure that such people reflect on the policies of Labour Party for them to have something doing. In that case, when you go out on the 11th of March, it is the time to retire these politicians who are not honest with themselves and with us. It is the time for the youth to speak one more time to ensure that Labour Party begin to have governors in almost at the state of this country. We have had the senator in the Federal Capital Territory. We have House of Rep in the Federal Capital Territory. So it is time for us to begin to burn major state governors as far as Nigeria is concerned. And I can assure you that Labour Party have come to stay, not as a third force now, but Labour Party is going to be a first force as far as Nigeria politics is concerned in the next 4 years.
Thank you so much. Like I said before, you spoke with so much passion. To our audience out there, just like you said, we should go out there and exercise our civic responsibility. Ensure we go out there to vote. We should believe in the process, like His Excellency P2B said, believe in the process. Definitely at the end of it, we're going to come out with flying colors. From us at Noble TV, my name is Noble Arinze. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.